Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mystic Mavens YouTube live show. Today, we're going to be talking about a phenomenal way to start the year, which is the intentional dream board and how to create a vision board that really works. I'm Claudia Rocafort. I'm one of the Mystic Mavens. I am a spiritual facilitator. I am a life coach and a business coach. And I can't wait to hear a little bit more about what we're going to be sharing today. But first, let's introduce the rest of the sisters. Carol, will you take it away, please?
Absolutely. Hi, I'm Carol Pilkington. I'm a spiritual teacher and transformational trainer. I work with people that are going through anxiety, stress, and grief and loss. And I am so excited to hear more about vision boarding today. So I'm going to first pass it off to Joanna to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I am Joanna White. I am excited to be here today to hear what Kathy has to share with us about vision boards. One of my things is vibe up or vibe out. And vibe for me is your vision, intentions, beliefs, and expectations. So to start off with the vision for the year is just where I'm at. So I'm excited to hear that as we vibe up for 2023. Kathy, how are you?
Can't hear you, honey.
Yeah, our beautiful Kathy Basel.
Kathy?
Is it me with
There you
the,
go.
I'm hearing a reverb on the thing. Is it on my end?
Yeah.
Okay, it went away. Yay! Hello, I'm Kathy Basel, and I am, so I'm here. Yeah, I'm getting a reverb, but is nobody else hearing it?
I'm starting to hear it.
Let's see. Well, can you hear yourself though? Can you hear us?
I hear you, but it repeats.
Okay. No, mine is good now. I don't hear that.
I think, do you have
I'll hear I hear myself, so it's hard to have a full sentence because I hear myself. You guys want to try muting yourself and see if it's one of you? I think I closed. Uh-oh.
I had that happen once when I had a YouTube live channel open. It was kind of in a slow motion. It was slightly delayed from us. So check and see if by any chance you have your channel open, which is always nice so that we can actually take a look at what people are sharing, any questions that are being asked. Does that seem to be the situation, Kathy?
Yeah. So Claudia, how about if you start, because I know that you were talking about the power of dream boards and that you've used them before. So why don't you start and I'll see if I can find the open window.
My pleasure. So Kathy just had this event a couple of days ago on the 28th about creating a vision board. And we were just sharing about how we can pick a word, for example, that could be that center of that vision for our year. What is your intention for your year? And we were all sharing what our word would be. So I realized that one of the things that came up for me today was commitment. And commitment has never been an easy thing for me. So I've decided this year to commit to my health, to commit to my well-being, and to commit to myself, to my personal growth again. So that showed up for me as doing my first, as soon as I woke up, I literally was like, okay, there was a yoga class. Arrived 5 minutes late, but I arrived and I decided in that moment that I was going to commit to doing whatever it took to take care of me this year. So mine is commitment. So how about we all share a little bit what your word and that intention for your vision for your year, because that's a beautiful way to start your vision boards and consider what is that central theme that you'd like to base your vision around. Carol, why don't you share with us what your word would be?
My word is inspired. I feel so inspired for this coming year that I have so much so many new things coming down the pipe. And so I'm really excited about that.
It shows you're glowing.
Yes. Her smile is so large. I'm so happy for you. Mine is discipline. I realize I have been disciplined for a lot of things, but not myself. And in that discipline, just being disciplined to me is really it. And as long as I'm disciplined to me, I believe I can serve better. So be disciplined.
It's interesting because I think a lot of people have a connotation around the word discipline as if it's some harsh kind of, rigid kind of thing. But discipline to me is kind of like the eye of the needle. If you're disciplined, like you're saying, to put yourself first or to show up consistently or whatever the thing is, it's actually the pathway to freedom. So
Because that's what I want.
I should have that.
That's it.
Right. So the word that I came up with for this year, I was kind of thinking along the lines of like a surrender kind of a thing, because I want to just know that there's something bigger than me that's seeking to express through me. All the push energy and the doing it, feeling like I got to do it all myself, paddling the canoe myself. It's like, just put down the oars and enjoy being part of the bigger expression of the universe. So surrender was kind of it. And then all of a sudden I was walking out in the snow and the word bliss just came to me, and it was like, I'll have that. It's sort of like that surrender of, maybe it is like boogie boarding and you're out there on the raft and you catch the wave and you can stop all the paddling and just enjoy the ride. So my word for this, and maybe we could combine ours, Joanna, we could do blissipline. I like that.
I like that. Blissipline.
Blissipline. Yeah, because it should be, when we've got the bigger vision of what it is that we want to create our life as, that instead of the motivation, instead of the doingness that comes along with the conversation at New Year's, when people are setting their goals and they're, working the plans and all that, it's an old masculine energy. And what I want to invite you into tonight is a feminine way of expressing, starting with the end in mind, if you will. Broadcast out a year or 2 years or 3 years into the future. What is your vision of what you want to be experiencing your life as, in every regard? Get very clear. And we can I love these conversations because they start to interweave. So Claudia had led the conversation about Feng Shui, and you can actually take the Bagua map of the Feng Shui and put that on your vision board. And each of those segments, each of the areas of the Bagua map, the career, the relationships, the love, all these different areas, get clear on what you want your life to be like. And then the secret is, I call it the art of elevated emotion, is get clear on what that essence is of it. The joy that Carol is plugged into right now. She's knowing these clients that she's working with and the good that she's doing out in the world. And, we might have experienced new love and the reciprocity of that relationship. And so there's a joy, there's an expansiveness, there's a lightness, there's a hope and an excitement that titillates you, So get the essence of what that is. And that's where we want to capture the pictures and put them on the vision board. The pictures, our brains don't know the difference between things that are happening in the moment or things that we're just imagining. There's all kinds of beautiful anecdotal stories of people who, even visualization, like athletes use it oftentimes. I used to golf quite a bit, and to imagine where that shot is going to go, where my ball's going to land, how many times it's going to bounce, and how it looks as it's rolling into the hole. It's like when we can get clear on that, impress upon, I love our background, because in the words of Wallace Wattles, he wrote back in the day, The Science of Getting Rich. He talks about our ability to think things and to impress upon the formless substance those desires that we want. Like, we get to become the co-creator of what we're calling forth, but the universe doesn't speak English. it speaks vibration. And so that's the importance of creating a vision board that captures the vibration of what it is that you want to experience, the emotional, the essence of that. And so a vision board can be a very powerful tool because, there's the saying, a picture speaks, tells 1,000 words. It's like, not only that, it begins to show us a vibration. It represents that. And I wanted to kind of give you a little twist on the vision board, because oftentimes I used to do the ones where you go to a little party and we cut out pictures from a magazine, but it was always frustrating because, I want to go to Italy and they've only got these kinds of pictures. It's like, no, I want to be on a bike and I want to be by the coast. I want to be like, I want my picture, my picture. So there's tools now these days, Canva being a great one, but you can use all kinds of, you could just use an open like Microsoft Word or any kind of document, and using create a digital dream board, which is awesome because then you can search out on the internet, literally limitless images to capture exactly the one that is the representation of the essence that you want to feel. And so that's the key. We want to get that. You can segment it according to the areas of the feng shui, which is a great way to make sure that you've hit all areas of your life. And then like Canva has awesome ways of including motivational quotes, or using, like we teed up at the beginning, your word of the year that can be front and center, bliss or discipline, so that it's a continual reminder. Because what we want to do, create that future vision of who you are and what you want to experience, and how that looks and feels, and who you're surrounded with, and where you're traveling to, what your living space looks like, what your interactions with other people feel like, and take that essence of that and bring, it's almost like a cord, a golden cord that brings us back into this moment now, so that we can begin to represent that. What I do, I create a digital vision board, and then I print it out. And I literally frame this and put it in my bathroom. So when I'm brushing my teeth, so it's something that I visit every day, and I'm impressing that emotion upon me every single morning and night when I'm brushing my teeth. So we want to not just create a vision board and kind of put it away. It's like, let's create a living, this thing has a life of its own. Let's create that thing and create a relationship with it, so that you're beginning to impress on a regular basis the desire that you have for the future you want to experience. So with that, I'd love to toss it out to these Maven ladies, because I know you are magical at manifesting. So I'd love to hear your experiences, or
I'd love to jump in actually for a moment, Kathy. For those who haven't had a chance to take a look at our feng shui episode, please watch it. And also to share for a moment, so that people actually have that Bagua map to take a quick look at, so that they can experience it. They can maybe take a quick
That's a good idea.
moment, if I may, and share this Bagua map, because it really does give us that idea of all of the sections in our life that we want to incorporate into that vision board. And it's precisely the emotion tied to the vision that makes miracles happen. So that when you see that vision, you're connecting to feeling what it would be like to have that already manifest in your life. And that is one of the key essences and the key ways that we make this come true in our lives. So we want to make sure that, we are addressing that corner of wealth and prosperity, that idea of how we come across in the world. What do we want to be known for? How are we holding up to ourselves and our integrity and our reputation, our love relationships, creativity and children? Do we love to paint? Do we love to draw? Do we like to dance? How are we expressing our creativity in our lives? Friends and travel and helpful people, like you said, that trip to Italy. The fact that we can do these now without having to cut out the magazines, and we can look for pictures online and actually import those into our board, is a wonderful way, because you will get a closer essence and feeling of what it is that you really want to create. And knowledge and wisdom, family and community, and your health, your center, that well-being, what makes you feel at your best. And so I wanted to share that Bagua for a moment for those who aren't familiar with it or weren't sure what exactly we were talking about. Refer you to our episode on feng shui, but also that way you had a moment of visualization of where those kind of corners are and those locations, so that you can then, when you create your board, kind of orient that love and passion idea. If you want a partner, if you want marriage, if you are happy by yourself and you're committing your love to dance, whatever that may be, so that you highlight those aspects of your life.
Love it.
That's wonderful. So I use vision boards. I used to do the same thing, Kathy, like you said, cut out the pictures. We have vision board parties and things like that. What I've learned to start working on is my actual visualization and connecting to it. That part was the part that I needed more than the paper or it standing still. And I had a fire in my home. So with having a fire, you don't get attached to those pictures and things anymore. So a lot of my lessons have been breaking attachments. So I felt like doing the vision board, I'm attached to how that outcome should be. And I didn't want to be attached to that. It was really grabbing hold of the feeling and connecting it was what I needed to do, and training myself like a muscle every day to commit to that feeling. I actually did a year with the Love Twins. I don't know if you guys know them, Gladys and Michelle. They went through WPN and I did coaching with them about, the desires of your heart. And that was one of the key things, was connecting. And my coaching was, you didn't connect here, like just to get myself into that feeling of love again. So sometimes like you can get the pictures and you can have them there, but you never really connect to them. So like I say, believe, right? You could believe something, but when you have faith in it, it's actually action. It's actually movement. Because you can tell a person to do something and they believe it, but they never take action on it. So the actual connecting and feeling, I think that's the most important part of vision boards or vision anything, is the connection and feeling. Carol?
And like you said, it becomes like the discipline is
Right.
to revisit that, because our brain is wired to stay the same. It really wants to resist change. And for us to experience something new and greater than we've experienced up until now, we've got to be able to think and do bigger and greater. And so that, regardless of, and again, thank you for presencing that, is that the vision board is just a tool. So go Carol, go Carol.
You? I think what a lot of what you're saying, Kathy and Joanna, is so much tied to intention. So when we have an intention for something or a vision for something, it is so important, because the stronger the intention, the better able we are to really implement and follow through on whatever we vision and whatever we put up on our vision boards, right? Because that intention is really what is the glue for the vision.
Yep, absolutely.
And the emotion, Carol, you work so much with emotions as well. I don't know, but for example, I used to always worry as an actor, okay, if I had to come up with a role and I needed to cry on the spot, how would I get to that emotion, for example? So I'd have these visions of something happening to someone I loved, or, my son, and within seconds, I could be in full-blown tears, because even though I was just imagining this, I was imagining something that would move me personally, my heart, pull at my strings, right? Of course, it didn't always work that I could do that on command. So there's part of that discipline that we need to work on. But it's really powerful how we can make ourselves feel something just through what we envision.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be positive or negative. Why not choose the positive? Right?
Yeah.
Why not choose, if we can look at the glass half empty or the glass half full, part of that vision board is, let me look at what I do want to create, what I do want to manifest in my life, whether it's literal like an image or whether it's an essence. And the image reminds me of that essence, right? Maybe it's a ring and that represents, you know, a partner or bliss or being wed. Whatever that might be, whether it's that dog and that picture of that dog is your companion and it's that needs to invoke a deep emotion.
Invoke, that's the word.
Yeah. It's a great word, invoke. It's like we are the commanders. We are the commanders. We've got this amazing brain, and to be able to discipline it to focus on the things that we want, because otherwise, like you said, it just automatically goes to the default of, yeah. A lot of times, I do coaching with people and you ask them what it is that they want. They're very familiar with all the things that they don't want. And I think that's so important. Right now it's New Year's and people are going to be making resolutions based on, I don't want this. So like losing weight, for instance. So they'll do it from a place of actually despising their bodies and say, I want to be 10 pounds, 20 pounds lighter, whatever it is. But the desire has come from a push away from something. We cannot change something until we embrace the current condition. It's like, it's okay without judgment. I've gained some weight after COVID. Like, I can be okay with that and know this is not who I am. And I choose to lose 10 pounds or whatever it is. So anyways.
That's
Like,
an honoring you.
How that
Exactly. The more we honor ourselves, I feel the more our visions even become clearer of what we want and, how we even want it. But it all begins with us, just being clear. A lot of times I teach a lot about balance, because a lot of my clients go, oh, that's right, I'm eating the wrong things. And it's not about right or wrong, it's about balance. And when you're out of balance, when your body starts speaking to you. So how do I bring it back in balance? And that's a lot of getting to know who you are. So the more we get to know who we are, the more we can say our visions and things become clearer to us. Because a lot of times people, like you said, they only look at what I don't have and what those types of situations, as opposed to what can I create? What can I, it's balance. Balance.
You used the good word though, is what do I create? Because we truly do have the power to, I just believe the universe has our back. It's conspiring to give us and assist us. It's looking to express, like it's got a bigger creative engine than we can imagine. We're just part of the wave. And so when we co-create with the universe and do that bit of surrender to it, that's when synchronicities and all those things bigger than we can possibly choreograph in our own mind. How could you have thought of this connection, that book falling out and leading me to that thing? But as you said, just recognizing how powerful the intentions are, and that we want to be bigger, dream bigger, because I believe also that we've kind of gotten almost like a glass ceiling over how good would you allow your life to be? If we just had the super crazy mega million, lottery thing. If you won that thing and money now is no problem. It's interesting because these days I feel like there's not a lot of things that we want, but it's really the experiences. So get clear on all of those beautiful desires.
my communication part wants to jump in for a moment, and point something out, which I thought was brilliant about what you said. The wording and the energy, if we can align those two. So for example, when we say, I want to lose 10 pounds versus I want to release 10 pounds, which one sounds more supportive, right? One comes from a feeling of loss, of lack somehow. And just that reframe of, I'm willing to release whatever I felt I needed to, or to hide, or to give me that extra nourishment that I could hibernate and be okay. Now I'm willing to release that. And so I love this idea of, think about that vision along with the way that we communicate that vision. And the way, for example, I have a hard time, I was just thinking about this as I was sharing the Bagua. What would my ideal house look like? And I couldn't pinpoint it. And I haven't obviously given myself enough of a chance or an opportunity to say, what do I really want to create as my home space? And it's interesting, I know what I don't want. That's one aspect in my life that I have not given myself the opportunity to say, okay, what would I like to create? And what am I willing to receive? And that's another key thing, which I think was so powerful. I'm in the middle of Mexico right now, in a place that is usually used for retreats. And 2 days ago, we had the experience of a temazcal. For those of you who've never heard of it, it's a sweat lodge, and it's used to release. It's used for rebirthing. It's used to release things from the past, traumas, all kinds of different things. And before we go into the heat of the fire and that prima agni and that bringing in of the fire element, everything we wanted to release and everything we wanted to create in our lives. And now I'm using that as my vision board. I'm using those things as the images that I want to create for my vision board.
One of the questions that Vanessa had, she's joining us today, is how do we get in balance? And what I was thinking about when she asked that question was, first of all, I have to acknowledge where I'm at, number one. Number two, I have to accept things as they are. And number three, I have to be able to accept where I'm at and acknowledge the process of where I want to get to, acknowledging that it's a process. And when I experience anxiousness or frustration or dissatisfaction, to recognize and be okay with those feelings, because they don't last forever. But the more we indulge in them, the longer they last. It's kind of a paradox, you know. We have to acknowledge it, but when we don't indulge in it, it kind of releases it on its own. There's no force. When we try and force things, when we get out of balance. When we don't accept things, that's when we're out of balance.
Yep. And the body tells you when you're out of balance.
That's right.
So emotionally, that's what Carol's saying. The body will speak to you and tell you, you know, it shows up. It shows up. And I would say the best way for anybody to, you know, when you're out of balance, we feel it way before anything. It could be as simple as, some people say they've been lightheaded before they pass out. It'll be months before. Or just listen, start listening to your body and paying attention. When you're putting things in it, it speaks. When you emotionally hold on to things, it speaks. Like it shows up in the body so much. And just being able to honor you and know those feelings and just ask the body, it'll give you the answers. Like that's how phenomenal we are. Like the intentions that Carol is talking about is, if you have an intentional conversation with you, you'll get the answers. Yeah. You really will. And your body will speak to you and you'll start feeling what to balance and what not to balance. So
It
those are
might be
best.
a spot too where they're not drawing boundaries for themselves. And so just like you're saying, I think simple inquiry, we oftentimes know the answers and we're just not giving ourselves the permission to speak our own truth.
Mm.
So, and it's a great intention for all of us for the new year is to consider what does it take to find that voice for ourselves and have the courage to know that our feelings are valid, that we get to ask for what it is we desire, that we come to into relationship in ways that work for us.
I just had this conversation actually, because you find sometimes, like I said, you'll vibe up and certain friendships or certain relationships just don't serve you the way they used to. And being able to come away from them knowing that it's no animosity, but I have to vibe up. I can't stay in this element any longer. And I think we don't give ourselves the grace for that. We look at it as a negative thing. And I don't believe that's not the case. You know, sometimes friendships, we're on two different parallels
Yeah,
at that point.
it was good for a season. It's time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually reading a fascinating book at the moment, which I highly recommend, and it's called The Big Leap. And it
Oh, yeah.
talks about,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yes.
But we
Excellent.
all have certain limitations, certain beliefs that limit that. Once we start to feel like we're expanding or we're growing or we're receiving more, or we have gotten that raise, or we made a little more money, or we're in a great relationship, all of a sudden, it's not that comfort zone. And we may sabotage it, or we may end up doing things to actually lose that extra money, or to make the relationship have a rocky road. And the reason why this happens is because we are set in a certain comfort zone of what we are willing to receive, or what we're comfortable and believe we are able to receive or create for ourselves. And we need to be able to expand from that and notice that there are certain ways in which we sabotage that, or certain limitations that we create. There's a pattern actually of 4 that repeat themselves. And are we willing to then be able to say, okay, I'm willing to remove this limitation. I'm willing to get past it. I'm willing to just go back into the gratitude and observe that I expand into greater, into
Yeah.
the more
And
of
we
what.
want to make a habit out of the new thought of seeing yourself to be the one who's getting that $100,000 raise, or, you know, whatever the thing is, the romance, the whatever that is. But we need to begin to fight the old patterns that have us believing that we're not the one, to believing now that we are. And so that's why a tool like a vision board can be a good one to remind you, because otherwise we'll just fall back into the status quo.
And like Carol said, setting that intention for your vision board, I think is very powerful. The intentions of, like Kathy just also said, being that $100,000 person, or, you know, a month person. Let's start there, $100,000 a month person. You know, it's levels to get there. And you create that vision each year to be that person. And that's what creating the vision boards.
Like you said before, there's got to be a resonance between what you're allowing yourself to be receiving of. So the belief factor, the intentionality, the Claudia's word invoke, I think that's one of the highlights for me tonight.
Yeah.
For invoking. Carol, you're awfully quiet over there.
Yes.
Well, I speak when I have something to say.
You
And
have
I'm just
always
enjoying the
wonderful insight.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the conversation, and I agree with everything that you're all saying. And like you said, Joanna, we always feel it in the body. We always feel everything in the body. It's that fight or flight mechanism that happens. And, or when we're excited, we get jazzed about something and we can feel that heightened energy. And it's just wonderful. And I love having a vision that I can really hang my hat on, so to speak, you know, and have something to look forward to, because that's what brings meaning to our lives, right?
Yeah.
If we don't have anything to look forward to, if we don't have a vision for our life or anything from one day to the next, what's the point of being here? Because we are the meaning makers. It's
Yeah.
not the other way around. It's not life giving us meaning. We give life meaning.
I like that. The meaning makers is what you
Oh.
said.
Yeah. Shazam.
Yeah.
Telling you, she only speaks when she's got something big to say.
Right. I like that. The
Mic drop
meaning
moment.
makers. That's
I
right.
love it.
I like that.
And really, so it's fascinating too, because I work with, we're all like work with people that have different stages of depression or anxiety or things like that. And oftentimes that all it takes is a shift, like you're saying, Carol, to have a vision. I like to hang your hat on, but something that pulls you forward. And, this, again, I want to bring it back because here we are in January and everybody's setting this intention. We're going to start driving and making them, doing the goals and the, all these, breaking it down. And it's like, willpower is a short term. It's kind of like the fuel that gets a rocket off the rocket lift shop, but we want to plug into that inspiration because willpower is going to last about 3 weeks. And that's why people fall off the bandwagon of their diet or whatever by the end of January, because you're relying on willpower, which is a finite thing that's going to burn up. So we want to get in touch with that inspiration. And when we're pulled by a vision, when we're pulled by inspiration, that's when we get into that flow point. And as long as we are plugged into that vision and we're moving in the direction of it, that gives us hope. And just like you're saying, inciting that sense of meaning and purpose, the hope and the happiness. Our brains don't care how quickly the progress is coming, but just knowing that we're headed in the direction of something that's meaningful to us is enough. And again, it all translates into the body. The body's going to feel that creative energy. It's going to have that positive, the hormones of positivity are going to just be awash in our body, and we're going to be healthier. We're going to be more alive, energized, and showing up in the morning. It's like having that vision and being clear on what it is. T. Harv Eker says the number one reason people don't get what they want is because they don't take the time to get clear on what it is that they want. So get clear.
I said, that's my house, my ideal house. Like, I spent the time thinking about that. And something that you just said, Kathy, is so powerful. That rocket fuel, right? That willpower, it's going to run out. Your why. Why do you want this? Why, whatever that is, right? Why? What does it going to shift for you or create for you or give you or give others around you? So if you can connect with that why, that powerful aspect behind, then that inspiration gets fueled.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what keeps us on track. That's what keeps us. I think of it as like climbing Mount Everest, right? What is that ultimate goal you want to achieve? So I talk to my clients about, what is that ultimate goal of hiking through the storms, through the difficulties, through the tiredness, through the blizzards? What keeps you going to get there?
Mm.
Something just came to me while you were talking, Claudia, is that what keeps my intention always at the fore is that it's bigger than just me.
Mm-hmm.
How is that intention, my vision, going to serve and contribute to humanity?
Love that.
And when it's bigger than me, then it's not about me. When it's bigger than me, it's not about me.
Yeah.
And tie that back to fear and anxiety. That's the ego speaking, thinking that we're the ones who are having to make it happen. And just like you said, when we shift that focus of how is this being in service, or how am I giving my gifts in a bigger, different way, then the fear and anxiety becomes irrelevant. You might still have the emotion, but you can do it, when they talk about do it despite the fear, it's like you're plugging into a different channel. It's like you get to keep marching through just regardless of the fear or anxiety. Beautiful conversation.
And
Well, courage
also,
is not a lack of fear, right? Courage is doing it anyway.
Of the heart, right? From the heart.
Sorry, Joanna, go ahead, please.
no, I don't even remember. I was discouraged. Let's stay there. I don't even remember what I was going to say. Yeah, but courage is doing it from the heart and doing it anyway. Like Carol said, even though you know it's for the greater good, still doing it. And that's for me the discipline that I'm talking about for the year, because as much as I know eating the right foods or just eating high frequency foods or doing things that serve me don't always mean I'm gonna serve me. And that I think that's the key, like to know that intention with everything that we do is very key for unlocking the visions and unlocking the manifestations, and is setting the intention of knowing exactly what do you want, because people say they want things and it's not really what they want. And then when they get what they don't want, they don't know how to just look and say, oh, that's not really what I wanted, but this is what I really want, and focus the intention on what they really want. They keep it where, oh, but that's not what I wanted. And that's what they keep, the energy they keep repeating in their life. So wherever your intentions are, your energy will continue to flow in that direction. So every day your intention should be positive and what will make me happy. And as long as you're focusing on what will make you happy, then you will make everyone else happy, always.
Everybody's going, amen. Yeah. I mean, I'm an Abraham Hicks fan, so they're always talking about there's nothing more important than how you feel. From a law of attraction standpoint, that's exactly it. What the emotion is that you're sending out is what you're going to get back. So I love the word discipline in this way. It's like we're disciplining ourselves to stay at that higher vibing, even if it's not comfortable and it's not our regular set point. It's like, no, I'm going for $100,000 a month. I'm taking that one.
That's my goal, ladies. That's my goal. I got 5 years to be $100,000 a month woman.
All right.
Love it.
Fun.
So I have set the intentions for that for my next 5 years. So y'all just be here with me as I go through this journey.
Yes.
It's great because you can set that intention and you can feel into it, and like that's absolutely possible for you. And we can't, to be able to set a vision and a chart a course without knowing how, like this is outlandish, it's unreasonable, and there is no magnitude to miracles. Anything is possible. So like to think of unemployed angels up there, because they can't help unless we invite them. So they really have a lot of fun when somebody invites them to help out down here. And then to have a big dream like $100,000 a month, like that'd be a lot more fun than just coming down for a couple $1,000. So hardly worth the trip.
Well, you were talking before about Wallace Wattles and that book about creating abundance. There's this need in creating anything that we need to believe that it's attainable, that we deserve it, that it can happen. It's one thing to dream, right? But if we do not believe that that dream can be real and tangible, then it's always going to be out sort of ahead of us without being reachable. There has to be this innate, strong emotion and connection and feeling that I can create this. I am willing to receive this. I deserve this. I'm worthy of this. And there's a very powerful shift in energy when we go and we receive and we create these vision boards from that place versus from the place of it's a dream that's kind of untouchable. No, we want to make it and internalize it. And like Carol said, if we can on top, magic happens, because it's about also how can I apply all of this to serve others? How can that 100,000 a month make me a better teacher, a better coach? How does that then allow me to hundreds more people?
It'll help me travel.
That's it.
For that, you might be going on Elon Musk up to Mars, man. But
That too. Yeah. And in your travels, you may learn about all kinds of different alternative healing.
Listen, as
Yeah.
long as I stay open to it, I will get everything that the universe wants me to do.
Amen, my friend. Amen to that.
but really, like you said, the big leap there, it is that fine balance of things that you can, because stretch the belief, but then ask the question, if you're not feeling in a vibrational alignment with it, then go back and do the healing. And a lot of the time, those core wounds that, just like you're saying, that I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm not capable, deserving, those are such core wounds. And so much is being kicked up right now. Just one of my favorite questions to unwind some of that is just how much of that doesn't even belong to me on a scale of 1 to 10, like measure into that. And I swear 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it's 8 or 9 on a scale of 10 isn't even yours. And especially if you're plugging into our show, you are a sensitive. So we're picking up this collective glass ceiling. It's like, no. It's time for people like us to blast through that ceiling so that we can be having the $100,000 years or months, so that we can serve more people, so that we have this bigger platform and make this bigger impact. It's time for us to get unreasonable and think these things, heal those old storylines of not worthy. That's BS belief systems that don't work for us.
And this ties for me a little bit into the question Vanessa had at the beginning. How do we find that balance? Right? So this is part of that balance. It's realizing, where do my belief systems not support my $100,000 a month dream?
Yeah. So
that I can go back and heal whatever's in the way of that. And that's come up for me lately, actually, which has been wonderful, so that I could, I guess, step into a greater part of me. Look at what an old limiting belief came up about abundance and about prosperity and about creating wealth in my life as I was doing the Temazcal here. And it was mind-blowing to notice that and realize, wow, I've spent 30 years of my life working on myself, healing, and I never saw that before.
Yeah.
And I get to now keep growing. And we just keep expanding. We just keep growing. We just keep working on ourselves. And
there is no destination.
No, there's always more, isn't there, Claudia? There's always more, and there are more layers, but the velocity with which we go through and move through things is quicker, you know? It's not like when we first started out our journey where everything was so traumatic and everything that we uncovered was painful. It doesn't always have to be painful anymore. It can be, oh, okay, got it. Next. Okay, got it. Next. It can be that fulfilling and that quick for how we move through things.
I like to say transformation can happen at the speed of awareness.
And that's exactly it. That's exactly it. That's why I asked you, lady, when you put out intentions like that, $100,000 a month, there's things that I'm going to have to uncover about myself to be that $100,000 woman a month. That may not look pretty because I see myself.
But how much more gunk is going to come up all at once? It's like,
And
oh yeah.
And that's the
let's
beauty
activate.
of it, is it don't all
Yeah.
come up at once. It takes you through nice little phases. And like Carol said, to be able to understand the phase that you're in, or when that trigger hits and say, oh, okay, I didn't get past this yet. Okay, I'm gonna get past it this time. We're not gonna relive this one again, or we're not gonna let this trigger us anymore. So again, coming back to you and knowing when that thing hits you off, and you may say things to people that you don't want to say, or you may do things or feel a way that you don't want to feel. You've been triggered, and being able to move through those triggers faster and faster, and you're not sitting in them and letting them and allowing them, because we allow them to become depression. We allow that. So stepping out of that, allowing ourselves to be happy, as opposed to sitting in that trigger of depression or whatever did that to us. and getting through them so much faster. And it's not to say that they won't happen.
Yeah.
They will happen. It's just moving
Yeah.
through them faster, like Carol said.
And I like I like the theme that Carol and Claudia both kind of tapped on, is that this is a journey, and it's not like you said, we don't judge ourselves because we fell again. What we get to recognize is we're ever evolving, and there's a grace that happens. What holds us in the pattern even more so is when we judge ourselves, like, oh dang, I fell down again. Or a big one is, I should be farther along than I am right now.
Yeah.
Powerful. Just, you are where you are. We can't change the past. We can become the captains of our thoughts and our intentions from this moment forward.
Exactly. And there's that no shoulding all over ourselves, by the way. There's no shoulds. And I certainly lived that one. I should be further along. I should have done this. I should have done that. That does not serve us in any.
That's so 2022. Remember that?
Exactly.
That's it.
I
So we
love
set our intentions for
everyone.
2023 to not shit on ourselves anymore. That's our intentions for 2023. How about that?
Love it. Yes. I second that.
So fun.
Mhm.
So
So
when is our next, we have 7 minutes,
Mhm.
and our next show is in 2 weeks, I think on the 18th.
Mhm. Yes. I'd love to actually, before we
15th.
move
15th.
on,
Oh, sorry. I'm looking.
love to support you, Joanna, in your intention, and would love to share what some of our intentions are for this year.
Ooh.
That's excellent. I love it.
Okay.
Yes.
Kathy, take it away.
So one of my intentions is really about making a bigger impact. And I've got a program, La Femme Salon. It's 10 weeks to find your fire, freedom, and fulfillment. And it's all about impact, baby. It's all about, and I want to be the model and the guide for other healers to know that this is our time to own our voice, to know that you are deserving of making shit ton of money. We haven't been receiving up until now. And because of that, money is just the energy that is going to allow you to have the bigger platform to continue to be more of you. So I want to help heal money relationships for myself and for others. It starts with me. I'm number one. And yeah, so those would be 2. And I'll take a hot love relationship. Yeah. And travel. I'm going to Peru this year. I'm psyched for that. So that'll be the first of many travels this year.
Yay.
Carol, how about you?
Oh, wow. My intention for this year is to really have this amazing program that I'm working on in place and have it run a couple of times. It's actually going to be my signature course, Completing Cycles of Action, which I'll be talking about in a later show.
I think she wrote it for me.
Well, I first
Cool.
learned it for myself. It literally changed my life. And I'll be sharing more about that later. But yeah, it's big, it's huge. And like I said, it is life changing.
I'm excited to hear more about that one. And,
Yes,
and
me too.
That's our next show,
to
right?
volunteer on our next show. a little bit.
Look, I'm excited for that one. Me and Kathy said after the last show when she said it, Kathy said, "Is that why I do this?" Right? And, we was like, and I said, "I do the same thing." Oh, we need to have your show right away. I can't wait. I can't wait for Cycles of Action. And until you mentioned it, like Kathy said, the speed of healing comes with, what was it? With
Transformation happens at the speed of awareness.
awareness. And that was awareness right there. My Cycles of Action incomplete.
Completion or incompletion.
So it's going to be really fun, actually, because
Yeah.
for character, we're going to have one show about setting intentions and actionable goals, right? So how do we break down this getting from A to B, what we want to create, the difference between an intention and a dream, right? The dream is kind of out here and it's kind of wishful thinking. The intention from your heart, from your inner self. And then what can we do that is inspired action, the actionable steps to actually achieve what we want to achieve. So that's going to be our next show. And then Carol is going to take it away from there and take us to these actionable places where we're going to be able to continue this conversation. It's going to be very exciting. So I hope you're all going to be joining us. I'm just going to put my little seed in my intention, which is this year I am creating retreats. And the first one's going to be a health retreat down here, hopefully in Mexico, in this beautiful place that I'm visiting now and looking into to be able to really support ourselves throughout the year. And I can't wait to share more with you as it starts to manifest and continues to grow.
Yay.
That's exciting.
That is exciting. Yes.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. We look forward to seeing you on the 15th of January. And we'll be putting out the replay for today if you weren't able to join us live. So thank you for being here, and thanks to our guests for being here, Susan Winter and Vanessa. It was wonderful to have you.
Love and light, everyone.